Hey guys, what's going on? Mighty Leafy here. Welcome back to another Monster Super League video. Today I'm going to be checking out the new Nat5 astromon, Gilgamesh. So first up we have the Fire Gilgamesh. He has 29,000 HP, 3,900 attack, 2,600 defense, and almost 2,400 recovery, which nobody cares about. So let's take a look at his skills real quick. He has, for his passive skill, grants 100% chance to do one turn stun to the opponent. So I like nukers that have a CC on their passive skill, because if you're trying to go for the nuke and you fail, at least there's a chance they'll be put out of the next turn anyway. So for his active skill, he has HP Siphon. Attacks greatly restore allies' HP in proportion to the amount of damage dealt. So this one I'm not too keen on. I don't really like PvP attack mons to have sort of like healing type skills. Nukers I typically like having debuff stuff on, or maybe just stuff that adds to more nuking damage. Because when a nuker nukes, you want the enemy astromon to either be CC'd or you want them to just straight out be nuked. I don't know, maybe this works in some circumstances, but none of the people that, I certainly don't do this. None of the people in my Discord server that play PvP talks about using this. As far as I know, nobody likes this kind of skill on a nuker PvP mod. So yeah, I don't know. If you think differently, let me know how super awesome it might be, but yeah, I don't know. So for the variant leader skill, we have charging stats, decreases enemies defense by 35 to 40%. So it's basically like a free defense down almost, but this one is just always there basically, if you have the leader skill, which could prove to be difficult to get. But anyways, another astromon this Fire Gilgamesh reminds me of is this one here, the Fire Arthur. So if you take a look at his stats, it's almost 28,000 HP, and the attack is almost 3,500. So the other one is like 3,900. So, but then Fire Arthur has a little bit more defense. So basically, for a little bit more bulk with the Fire Arthur, you could get, the base skill, passive skill is the same, but then you get a much better offensive skill in terms of the 5-star active skill. You get a 70% chance to do 3-turn defense down on the enemy opponents. Right, so next up we have the Water Gilgamesh. He has 31,000 HP, 3,000 attack, and 2,800 defense, and 2,500 recovery. Okay, so he has a balanced mon. He does weaken. Weaken is only 70% chance, so that's kind of not great. But then he also has Courageous Strike. So anybody that has Courageous Strike is obviously Titan related. So is this mon good for Water Titans? Well, let's see. If you're doing Water Titans, then this mon has to be competing with Water Indra and Water Belrona. So I guess it could be pretty good, because Water Belrona has the defense down here. So she's obviously way more of an attacker, as you can see. Just I don't even need to show you the skills, like going or whatever. So she's a better attacker, obviously. And then you have this guy who is a half debuff, half Courageous Strike guy. You know what? This guy reminds me of Fire Poseidon in the Fire team, but obviously this guy is in the Water team, but then Fire Poseidon has basically the same shit. Is it the same shit, or was it switched around? I think it was switched around. Yeah, so Fire Poseidon has the Courageous Strike on the passive, and then the weaken on the active. But then because he has the Courageous Strike on the passive and he gets to use it a little bit more, or at least one turn more, he gets a little bit of a lesser attack stat. So 2600 versus, what's this? Oh, he gets a lot less. Okay, well, let's check out Water Indra and see if he's... Yeah, Water Indra is a staple because he has the... Yeah, see, he has the 80% chance attack down for 3 turns, so... But then he also balanced 3000, let's see. Yeah, 3000 as well. Okay, so I think my conclusion on this astromon is that you would prioritize the Water Indra, and you would also prioritize the so you would prioritize the Water Indra, and you would prioritize the Water Balrona. Water Balrona is the better damage dealer of the 3. Water Gilgamesh's weaken is pretty useful, but let's not forget that when it comes to the water element, you also have somebody else to do the weaken for you, and she comes in the form of a healer, and it's Water Bast. So I think Water Bast maintains the weaken, which she has a higher chance of doing anyways. So in a perfect scenario, this Water Bast would be the one to put down the weaken. And if you don't have Water Bast, then, well, yeah, it's not great, but hang in there. You might one day get her, you know? So if you don't have a Water Bast and you want attack down, defense down, and weaken, all on the so the Fire Titan, because you're using the Water team to fight, then yeah, consider putting this guy in some of the slots. Personally, before I got the Water Bast, I just ran some Evil 1 Water Dragons, because they have like a double weaken. I know this one's pretty shitty, 60% 3 turns, but I was pretty desperate for like mons with weaken, so... Anyways, let's move on to the Wood Gilgamesh. Right, so the Wood Gilgamesh is an attacker, 28,000 HP, so that's pretty similar to the other, you know, to the Fire Element Gilgamesh. 3,800 attack. Okay, so in terms of bulk, he has a little bit more bulk at 2,800. Whereas the other one was like, is it 2,400, 2,500? Can't remember. Recovery is, I think, about the same, slightly higher, but not that high, but who cares? Anyways, let's take a quick look at the skills, but as I'm saying that, I can already see the hourglass, so I already know it's gonna be Persevere, so it's probably gonna suck ass, but let's take a look anyways. Predator increases damage dealt by 50%, that's pretty straight up. So he's a straight up nuke guy. That explains why he has 100 less attack than the Fire Element Gilgamesh. So I would take the Fire one. Like, obviously this is different elements, so depending on which element nuker you want, you know, you kind of go with that first. But 3,900 attack with stun is better than 3,800 attack with Predator, in my opinion. So yeah, I was just trying to make that point. Okay, so for the active skill, we have Persevere, of course. So increases attack as each turn passes, stacks up to 8 turns. Okay, so if somebody from my Discord is watching this, let me know if the turns count, you know, with the enemy turns, because I think they do. But anyways, I know the first turn counts as a turn itself. So the first turn, you're working with 120% damage. And then the second turn you have 140, then you go 160. Yeah, I think it does count, right? Because it wouldn't make sense. When are you ever going to have 8 turns on your side only? So your enemy's turns must count for this to even be a thing, right? To have 8 turns in a PvP fight, where it's not like a stalling contest. Outside of that, fights generally don't last up to 8 turns, especially not when you're trying to gem an attacker. God, Persevere is such a shit skill. How would you ever bring an attacker that you gem for attack because it's an attacker and have it last 8 turns in a PvP fight? You'd be lucky if it lasts 3 turns, you know? Like, because at 8 turns, your enemy is going to be able to get 1 or 2 actives off at least. If not all 4, you know? Because if one active goes off, then everybody gets the blue orb on their side, and then they just do like 4 actives the next turn. So yeah, maybe you'll be hit with like 5 or 6 actives. I don't know. Unless they're all like really shitty actives, which I still think will kill you if you gem this guy for attack anyways. So then you're like, oh nah, you're a noob, gem it for a little bit of bulk. I still think you would die though. And plus, what's the point of an attacker with like no attack? It's like giving a knight a blunt sword, but then you'd be like, well, what's the point in the knight having the sharpest sword, but then he's naked? So that's a fair point, but I just think this guy, like this knight, if you were to gem him in a way where Persevere works, it's like you're giving him a plastic sword and also you're giving him a t-shirt. So you're not giving him a sword at all, and you're not giving him an armor. So the in-between shit, like, it ruins the astromon. I don't know, I just think Persevere sucks, because you can't use it anywhere, other than maybe in Titans. But then Courageous Strike works out way better anyways in that scenario. I thought you could use it in like a farming team, but then guess what? With each wave changing, the skill resets, so it sucks. God, the skill sucks ass. Okay, I'm done ranting. I don't know who this guy reminds me of, because Persevere, man, get out of town. Holy shit. Alright, so next up we have the Light Gilgamesh. 33,000 HP, 3,100 attack, 3,000, almost 3,100 defense, almost 2,600 recovery, which is super important, guys. But let's see. Okay, so he is a pretty good light courageous striker. Courageous strike on the passive skill, that's really good. And then his active skill is attack up, which is amazing. So wow. So if you bring this guy to a Dark Titan fight, he's gonna kick ass. But he would be replacing the slot of your Light Wendigo. Courageous Strike on passive, you guys already know what that does. Attack up on the active, which is pretty good. I'd rather have that shit on my healers though, but okay. Because in a Light Dark Titan fight, you might not have attack. Now that's bullshit, you definitely have attack up. So his attack up, which I don't think it stacks with the healer's attack up because it's basically the same shit. Why am I swearing so much? Ideally, it could have been something else is all I'm saying. But I guess in this scenario, you could switch out whichever healer was giving you the attack up and make them give you like a defense up instead. So like if you were using a Fire Cupid, which gives you attack up, now you can switch them out and into like, I don't know, like a water coating or something that gives you defense up. So it's probably better that way. So now you can get attack and defense up in your team, but I would have rather it be Courageous Strike. But then double Courageous Strike is like super unoriginal, and like Siegfried already has that, so it doesn't even matter because you can get like Siegfried much easier. Let's check out the Dark Gilgamesh. Dark Gilgamesh, by looks of it, he is a PvP type. Oh, I remember this guy. He was in the leak. Yeah, this guy was who I was referring to when I said he's basically the Dark Indra of PvP. Right, so check this out. He's got 29,000 HP, which, you know, it's okay, whatever. And then he's got 3,900 attack. It's like, hang on a minute, a Dark Attacker with that high of an attack, that's already pretty not great. And then you got 2,700 defense type thing going on, And then you got the shittiest recovery, which is good news because whenever an astromon has shitty recovery, all the points that gets taken from the recovery stat gets redistributed into the other stat. So this guy's a dark mon with really high attack that can boost his own SP and HP every turn that he attacks. But then when he gets his AoE, he can crit for a lot of damage because he's a dark mon. And also that crit lands as a puncture, so it'll ignore enemies' base defense. And also his leader skill decreases enemy defense. What the fuck? If you get this guy, like, I guess you can flex on people that are playing PvP trying to get somewhere. I guess it doesn't really matter if, well, you can't use this guy on defense obviously, because he's just gonna get like destroyed. But you use him on attack and you just dominate. Like, what the fuck? That's so bullshit, man. That's just... Oh, what do we have for a idea for a new astromon? Oh, how about we make this super desirable astromon? You know, kind of like the Dark Indra, but Dark Indra's double courageous strike. Too obvious where we were going with that one. Let's make one for, you know, with like a little bit of guessing game involved. I don't know, like, dude, that's bullshit. Why couldn't they make the Dark Enkidu into that? Why do I get fucking Persevere? Oh man. Okay. Anyways, maybe I'll get lucky and get this guy. Who knows? Whatever. You know, that was a joke. Nobody's ever gonna get this guy. Sure, maybe some people will, I guess. That's contradicting. I said nobody and then I said some people. Yeah, so basically this guy's gonna be super sought after in terms of building a team for PvP attack, but only a small fraction of players is ever gonna be able to get this guy, so that sucks. How about if they did a skill update and they gave Enkidu like double puncture? Cause it makes sense. Enkidu would do puncture. Like, who's more likely to do puncture? Enkidu or Gilgamesh? Well, I suppose Enkidu is probably more likely to get punctured. I see where they're going with this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, alright. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for my Gilgamesh review. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to check out my Discord server, link down below in the video description, probably watermarked on the video itself. Rather than liking and subscribing and stuff, I'd rather just have more people on the Discord to chat with. But yeah, anyways, with that being said guys, I will catch you all next time.